Hello, happy stampers. Welcome to my happy stamping studio. I must apologize that I'm a few minutes late, but I had refilled my spritzer and then ran upstairs because my husband called me before I came on, and I don't know where I put my water spritzer. So I had to get another one. I emptied it. It's not the cleanest water, but it is close enough. So today I am actually using a product that one of you have asked me to use, and that is the Brilliant Wings um, dies and stamp set this week. So I'm going to be using those on 3 cards this week. That was a special that they Stampin' Up had brought out early for the last year's catalog, and they had some designer series paper with it. And this friend of mine said, Judy, I bought this, and it seems that nobody's using it now that the paper's gone and it's been around. So can you give me some fresh ideas? So I thought, okay, you know what? I will use that this week. So that's where you guys come in and can request things, right? So I forgot to say hello to everybody. Oh my gosh. So I want to welcome our live viewing audience and those watching on replay. Please say hello as you come on. And if you're watching on replay, just comment replay so I know that you watched. And if you're watching on my YouTube channel, welcome. Be sure to subscribe so you know every time I come on live or post a video. So, Brilliant Wings. So, over the weekend, demonstrators got to partake in a creativity event with Stampin' Up. It was a 4-hour stamping, just fun stamping time with some of the staff and some other demonstrators. And all demonstrators all over the world got on at the same time. And we actually got to use a stamp set and some designer series paper and ribbon. It's a suite that's coming out in the July to January mini catalog. And well, actually to December mini catalog. And so we got to make some fun projects to show you guys and stamp away, and we learned some stuff. Did learn, even after being a demonstrator for 22 years, I still learn things at these events. And I also got some refreshers. You know how last week, I believe it was last week, I did tearing as my Thursday's tool and technique. It might not have been last week, it might have been the week before. But anyways, within the last 2 weeks, I showed the tearing technique again. And several of you told me, oh my gosh, I have forgotten about this. Thanks for reminding me this. This is a great technique that I used to do all the time. I love it. I'm going to start using it again. And it's the same for me when I go to some of these events. So one of the gals did a watercolor wash, and she did it variegated, kind of an ombre look. And I thought, you know what? I haven't shown that for a while. So we're going to do that and cut out our dyed butterflies. And you'll be able to see how beautiful they become using this technique. And each one is different and unique. And I may be using to use my heat gun to dry it if it's not drying fast enough. So I'm actually going to do the technique first, and then we're going to be talking about the rest of the papers and stuff as my paper dries. So let's switch you guys around and say hello. So hello, Janet and Marilyn. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so like I said, we are going to be doing a watercolor technique, and I am using our Fluid 100 watercolor paper. This watercolor paper is really smooth. I love it. It does have texture, as all watercolor paper does. It is 100% cotton, so it holds up to water greatly. So I took a full sheet. So these sheets are 5 by 7, I believe. Yeah, 5 by 7. And when I do this technique, I do it on the entire paper. Now, I have decided to use 2 colors that don't necessarily blend well together. But what I am going to do is I'm going to prep my paper, and then we're going to get some color on, and I'm going to press the bottom of my pad to the lid to get some color in that lid, so I can pick up some color with my watercolor brushes and spread that. So I can kind of control it, but not a whole lot. I am going to squeeze this one again because I want lots of ink on there. You can also use an ink refill to put it here. I don't always like to do that because then I have a lot of ink there. Okay, we're going to start by spritzing our watercolor paper, and this does get quite messy, so I am going to, hang on, grab a scrap piece of graph paper here. Okay, so I am going to spritz. Oh, this has got too much color in it. There, let's see if we can get some of that color out of the, there we go. So I am spritzing both sides so it's wet. And you spritz both sides so that it doesn't curl. And you can choose which side you want to do your watercoloring on. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and put this side down, and we are going to start to work with watercoloring. Now, I do want enough water on here that my colors have movement, but yet they don't move too much. So there's a fine line. So I'm going to take my wide watercolor brush, and I'm just going to make sure that that water is spread all over evenly. Okay, I am going to start with my fresh freesia, and I'm going to pick up some color, and I'm actually going to go this way because I think that I'll have more color variation. So like I said, and see, this really absorbed that water already. I want this to have dark spots on it. There we go. Okay, and it is moving. I'm going to pick up some more color. You know what? I am going to get a refill. I am using more of this ink than I thought I would. So I'm just squirting some refill into that lid, just like that. Just because this color is a little bit lighter color. There we go. And see how it spreads automatically? Okay. I'm going to do it up here again because I do want some of those dark colors in there. Okay, I am going to clean out my brush. And how I do that is I just squeeze the water out and keep wiping it on a chamois. Or you could use a paper towel. But let's get that all out of there. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up some Parakeet Party. Okay, and I chose these colors because these are the colors that are in the designer series paper that I'm using. And okay, and that's spreading. So let me pick up just a little bit more. I do want some dark spots. This does dry lighter when it dries. So keep that in mind, that your color will be a little bit lighter. I just want some more water because I do want this to move. There we go. Okay, you know what? We do have a third color in this paper. We actually have two more colors. So you know what? I'm going to pick up one of those other colors. And one of those other colors is Calypso Coral. And now that I said that, I need to make sure I have it here. I haven't unpacked for my classes over the weekend, so now I need to go ahead and squeeze this and get some of that ink in the lid also. You do have to squeeze quite a bit. Okay, let's get some of this. I'll make sure that this green is all out. Okay, and I'm going to take the brush and go with the narrow side. Okay, and I don't have to go in all the areas. I just do want some of this color in here. So some of the butterflies will have some calypso coral and some may not. And that's okay. I'm going to wash that just in here a little bit. Okay, I do want just a little bit more movement of that calypso coral. So I can choose to take my brush and just dip down some water like that. And as you can see, it spreads it out. I like that. I actually like this in here. So it was just that little spot that I wanted to blend out a little bit. Okay, as you can see, this paper is really, really wet. So we are going to move it to the side, and I'm actually going to move it on this off this paper because I want it to dry, and that paper is wet. So I am just putting it on a flat surface. We're going to close all this up and move all this water out of here. And let's grab our paper and our paper trimmer. So I'm going to be cutting. Let me wipe down my mat here just in case I've got water there. I don't want to ruin my paper. So I am using this week the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set and the dies. Today we're going to be using the dies. I have a card base that's basic white. It measures 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm folding it with the mountain in the middle, taking my bone folder and rubbing that. Okay. I can tell you my mat is a little bit wet. I can feel that. I already have a piece of calypso coral that measures 4 by 5 1/4. I just want to make sure I have this facing the right way. It measures 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to go ahead and put that on our card base as our next layer up. Okay, so now I want to do another layer, and I want to do it with designer series paper. I don't want a full quarter border around it. So we have that, and that measures 4 inches, and it's 4 inches from top to bottom. Or I may do it, you know what, I'm going to do it vertical. So the 4 inches is going to be this way, but we need to go smaller. If we want a full 1/4 inch, it would be 3 3/4, but I don't want to go quite that small. So I am going to go up 1 little tick mark. Okay, so now I have to remember my other direction was 5 1/4. So I go down to 5 and bring it up 1 tick mark. That's just going to give me a slightly smaller border around my designer series paper. And we're going to go ahead and attach that. And we could have used either side of this, would have been gorgeous. But my next layer is going to be a floral layer. So I didn't want to do that bright calypso coral. Just centering that on. I eyeball these 3 sides when I put it on. And then my 4th side will be even. So we have that card base. Now I want to do a mat in the inside. I want to do a mat that has a 1/2 inch reveal. Okay, so knowing that our long side was 5 inches plus a little line, I want to go to the 1/2 inch, so I'm going to go to 4 1/2 plus a little line. Okay, and then in the other direction, we went 3 3/4 plus a little line. So now I want to go a 1/2 inch. So I want to go to 3 1/4 plus the little line. Okay, so I'm working backwards here. So this is going to be my next layer, and see how, you know what, I might even make that, you know what, I'm going to make that smaller. I'm going to go to 1/4 inch smaller. So I'm cutting a 1/4 inch off of each side. And then I have to pay attention to what size that is, because my designer series paper is going to go on the inside of this. So I know it's at 3 in one line, and I want to go a 1/4 inch smaller. So I'm going to go to 2 3/4 plus 1 line. So we're going to do this 2 3/4 plus 1 line. Okay. Now the length, because I don't know what it's at, I'm going to measure it. So it is 4 1/4 plus a line. So this is going to be 4 plus a line. Okay, so that is going to fit inside there, and it's going to have a white border. But I'm not satisfied with it just being the yellow. I actually want a little bit of color on there. So I am going to grab another piece of graph paper. And I just noticed I have a lot of water pooling up on this. So I want to show you this. So this is what has happened to my watercolor. I've got a lot of water there. So I'm actually going to blot that. I don't like blotting it a whole lot, because see how that made that a lot lighter? And I like the vivid color on there. So we're just going to we may be, like I said, using our heat tool on that. So I have this. I have my colors. I have my blending brushes. So we want some of the crushed curry to be showing, but yet I want some of the other color. And we have very little Calypso coral in those butterflies. So we're going to go ahead and use a little bit of Calypso coral and just do some blending. I'm going to pick up some color from my pad and brush in both directions down here. And I'm going to start at this corner down here, and I'm going to move my way up. Okay, I just want to add just a little bit of color. And there is quite a bit of color on there. Okay, and I want it darker down here. And I want it to go lighter. And just fade out. So look at how those colors look, those flowers look different down there. Okay, and we're just fading that out just like that. Okay, so we've got that. So we can go ahead and adhere that to our mat. And you know, when I do this watercolor wash technique, I do a bunch of pieces at the same time. So I'll just pick some colors that I want to do, and I just go with it and do a bunch, leave them laying out in my studio overnight so that they dry, and the next day I can start creating with them. Okay, we're going to put this right here, and while that is still drying, we are going to stamp a sentiment. And this stamp set does not have a sentiment. So let me I'm looking for, well, I have a happy birthday. I've got a thank you. I think I do the thank you. I just need a lot of thank you cards. So I'm going to bring this paper, this watercolor paper over. And as you can see, it's still wet, but isn't it gorgeous? And it's not moving anymore, but it all moved and blended together, and it didn't get muddy. So that is the secret when you're doing this. Now those butterflies are going to go on top of here. So, and I've already done the Calypso coral, so I think I'm actually going to take fresh freesia and just grab a strip right here, because that will stand up. Grab a block, grab my embossing buddy, and did I tell you guys that in the next catalog, we have an embossing buddy in the next mini? We have a real neat toolkit. I can't wait to show you. I'll show you, well, actually, um, if it comes in time, I will have a video that I'm going to be posting because we are actually going to be going out of town for a little bit. And so I am going to have to pre-record some videos for you guys. And I am hoping to get those done. I am looking here for my white embossing powder. I keep picking up clear. Here we go. Here's a white. So that you don't miss me. And I am going to come on live. Well, I'm going to try to come on live because we don't necessarily have good internet service. In fact, I have to use my data. And there is only one tower where we're at to get a signal from, and that's for the whole town. So it's kind of sketchy. Okay, I'm inking up my thank you with Versamark. Put it down here. Hold it for just a second to make sure I get it good. Okay, I'm going to do this right over the lid just because it's a smaller piece. And hopefully I won't get it all over. But you know, I say that and then it gets all over, especially when I'm live. You know, I can do these things all day long when I'm by myself without an issue. Okay, we're going to pull out our heat gun, and it may get a little bit noisy, and I'm going to heat up the thank you, and at the same time, I'm more than likely going to dry this other paper so that we can get that cut. Turn my heat tool on hot. And I'm actually going to have the air go towards that. Oops, oh, that's supposed to be there. Be careful not to burn your fingers. There we go. That is done really quick. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and dry my watercolor paper. And you're going to notice that the colors start to get lighter and fade out. They're not going to fade out as much as this right here where I kind of dabbed all that water off. And I'm actually going to heat both sides of this because it got wet all the way through the back. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but the paper is flattening and it'll start curling to this. See how it's starting to curl up there? Because I'm heating this side and it's drying. And then I'm going to flip it over to the other side. So I do this a couple times and it's going to sink, and look how it's pulling up there. Hey, Christine. You missed the beginning. Okay. Hello, Patricia. And you know, if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment so I know you watched. I love reading your comments and I do respond to you. Okay, this is almost all the way dry. And I just keep flipping it back over and over. And I am loving this particular wash. It came out nice and bright. Doesn't it kind of remind you of the 70s and the tie-dye? We've got a little bit of like almost streaking coming out like the sun. I just love this. And I don't know where we got that color at. It may have come from my paper that I had it on. But there we go. Just want to bend that one down a little bit. Okay. So this is dry. So now we can cut our butterflies. And we are going to cut, this is a wonderful die set. So you have a couple choices here. We could cut outlines and if we had stamped the images, but I like these detailed. And so I am going to, we only need 2 butterflies because we've got a small space. So we're going to do this one here. I'm going to do that one that way. But I am going to cut out more of them. So we're going to cut out as many as we can because we can do this in one swipe. Let's do this one here. Look at that. And they're all going to look different, right? Okay, so look at that. Got those, and we can do a second time around even. Okay, so I knew that I didn't want this to move, so I am going to use our magnetic plate that's not going to be available just because I have it, and I knew I wanted to do more than one butterfly, and I don't want them to move, and I'd like to do them as quickly as possible. So let's place these on again. They all kind of moved. So I want these kind of going out like that and making sure I get the entire butterfly on. So some will have calypso coral insides, others will have the parakeet party. I think I can squeeze this one, just squeeze it in here. If I just twist those a little bit around. There we go. Let's flip that around. Let's get this one right here so it gets down in there, and then that one can go there. So you can play with these a little bit and get them to where you want them. Like I said, they're all going to be a little bit different with different colors, and that's okay. My granddaughter tells me, but Grandma, butterflies have the same pattern on their opposite sides. And she's right, they do, but ours don't have to, right? Okay, we're going to put this through. Okay, I'm going to come back again. I might do these a couple times just because they're detailed, and that watercolor paper is thicker, so you have more to cut through. And we'll do it one more time. And let's hope that we don't have to poke out too many negative areas. Okay, we're going to remove this. Take this off and grab our paper. And I'm going to have to go again, it looks like. I have to flip it over the other way. So let's clean this off. Even if I had 2 of them that came all the way out. Okay, so how you do this is you just line it up again and place it on. And because I have that magnetic plate, it's going to hold where it is. This one is this one. This time I'm going to flip this over. I'm actually going to put, is that this one? Yep. The magnetic plate on the top instead of the bottom. So I'm flipping it upside down. Okay. Get this one. Okay, I lost a die someplace. Where is my other die at? Okay, that's okay. It's probably underneath. Okay, so what I'm doing is I am flipping it over. And that is going to put some more pressure on it. I'm going to run it straight through this way. And run it through a couple times this way also. And this is just because that watercolor paper is thicker. Okay, hopefully they cut this time. Let's check them out. Yep. Okay, so they did cut out. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Don't know where that other die went. Oh, it was underneath. So let's see which ones we got cut out. Oh, the paper is still a little bit damp also. So that causes a little bit of an issue. I should have done one of these. I really like this butterfly. I want this one on my card. So I am going to get it out. Just takes a little bit. You can tell that the paper is just a smidge bit wet. So what I'm going to do is I took that off, and instead of trying to rip that out, I'm just going to take my snips and snip that out. Just like that. We've got a big one. Let's see here. That for some reason, I think that's the corner that was really wet. So we may use this bigger one. This one that's kind of shaped like a monarch. Most of it came out. Snip right there. I could probably pull this off, but because it's damp, I may get some shredding, you know, some little fuzzies there, and then it would look like a moth, right? Oh my gosh, and we don't want that. Okay, I can feel the dampness still. So let's take your pick tool and poke these out. I could use the brush, but like I said, the paper's still damp, especially right up in here. It feels a little bit drier down here, and I think that's why most of these popped out. But look how that changes, and look how gorgeous that butterfly is. Okay, that one is not poking out. It's wet here, so I need to be careful. I take my paper and snip it. You can see that it's not shredding, it's kind of feathering a little bit because it's wet. I'm even having trouble cutting it with my snips because it's wet. Let's see if I can just pull this one off. Yeah, there we go. See if we can get the rest of these out here. If not, I'll just run this one through the die machine again and see if it'll cut better up there where it's really wet here still. I could try to dry it also, but I get too impatient sometimes. Plus, this teaches you how you can do this. So yeah, so again, my recommendation would be to color your paper and let it set overnight. There we go. Let's just snip that one. I think that's the last one, and I don't even know if I snipped it right. There we go. But look at, isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. And then we've got this one here. See if we can get these all poked out. If not, I'll run it through again. I'm not going to try cutting these real small ones out. I don't know, for some reason the Calypso coral area is still wet. I think I may have used a little bit more water in that area. Okay, I am just going to take this and run it through again. So let me grab my machine. I don't want to take up any more of your time. Let me see if I can find, oh, I don't think this is the right die. Is it? Nope. Okay, where's the other small die? Here it is. Okay. Oh, silence. So what is everybody doing? Under the paper. Thank you. Thanks, Janet. You know what? Janet keeps a close eye on me. She's getting to know me quite well. Oh my. So I put this upside down. I'm going to run over it a couple times. And I think that this is going to do the trick. Let's try poking these out while it's in the die. Sometimes that helps. They're flying out now. I think that was the trick. Okay, let's poke a couple of these spots to pull it out. And look at that one. Gorgeous. So we have our sentiment. We have this mess of pieces here. We're going to clean off. Let's grab our card base. Let's grab our butterflies and look at that. Put them that way. I am going to trim down my sentiment. I don't want it as big and bulky, and I knew that when I did it, but I want it a little bit straighter. So let's go ahead and trim it. Okay, let's see how straight that is. Just put it right there. Oh, I got a little bit off. See if I can straighten that up. There we go. And then we'll trim off the other side. I love our paper trimmer because I can hold my paper on there just like that. Okay, so we're going to grab some mini dimensionals and some dimensionals for this part. Going to use some regular dimensionals right here, and I am going to use this strip right here off the end and put that all the way down. And then just strip that a little bit. I'm going to put that on first. So we're just going to put that right down here. And then we can pop these up with our mini dimensionals. They will fit underneath. And then we'll get some rhinestones. I think we need a little bit of bling on these. Right here. I can fit one down here. So I just put my dimensionals wherever there is space to put it. Wherever it will fit and not show. It can peek out just a little bit. I don't mind. I don't like it peeking out a whole lot because then it sticks to the envelope. So let's put this one here. Just like that inside the card, and we're just going to use one mini dimensional on this one. Now I have to figure out another card for tomorrow. We can place this in here. You know what? In fact, I was so happy that this person requested this set because it's a set that I have not used in a while. And it gets me using my sets also. So there we go. We've got that. Let me grab some rhinestones. I don't want to do colored, just using our basic rhinestones. Got an old pack here that still has some, so we're going to use those up. Let's use that one. Oh, they're just flying all over, huh? That one, and let's do one up here. So, there we go. So you guys, you learned how to do that watercolor wash, and I still have plenty of that left over to cut out some more. I will finish cutting these out and cut a couple others and do a couple cards and show you guys maybe tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So Janet loves the butterflies. Yeah, it's a fun way. I will do designer series paper a lot of times. I'm crooked. My camera's going like this. Um, but I will use designer series papers with these dies because you get the different colors in that and stuff. And I will even use it with the stamps because you get a different look and a gorgeous look. So I hope you guys enjoy today and enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to visit with me today. And so until we meet again, everybody, happy stamping.